Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how I made this crochet crop top. The top is made by 2 cups, the body that's worked in the round, 2 straps that I worked separately and then sewn here to the cups and to the back. For this project I use a fine cotton yarn in 2 colors. Of the first color I had 150 grams, so 3 skeins of 50 grams each, 125 meters. And for the second color I had 1 skein of 50 grams. So this is how much I have left. For the second color I almost used it completely, and for this one 2 skeins were not enough, so I had to use a little bit of the third. I worked my top with a 3.5 millimeter hook. Then I also used a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors, a stitch marker, a couple of pins and a measuring tape. We are going to start with the cups of our top. I already made the first one so you can see how it looks like, and together we're going to make the second one. With your 3.5 millimeter hook and your first color, make a slip knot. And for the stitch pattern we need to chain a multiple of 2 plus 1. I'm going to chain 17, that's equal to around 7 centimeters. The starting chain should reach from the bottom of your cup to the center of your breast. For the first row of the cup, we're going to skip the first chain from the hook, and in the second one we're going to make 1 single crochet. Then we're going to skip the next chain, and in the next one we're going to make 1 single crochet. Then we're going to go back in the chain we skipped and make 1 single crochet there, and we're going to pull the loop a little bit more like this. We're elongating the stitch a little bit. Then again we're going to skip the next stitch and make a single crochet in the next one. Back in the stitch that we skipped, a single crochet, pulling the loop a little bit more like this. And we'll keep repeating until we have 1 chain left. Skip 1 stitch, 1 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet back in the chain you skipped, pulling a little bit more. We have 1 chain left at the end. We're going to make 2 single crochet. Then we're going to chain 1 and make 2 more single crochet in that last chain. And this is the point of our cup. I'm going to take my stitch marker and place it in the chain space we just made. Here. This is where in the future row we will make our increase. Now we're going to turn, and we're going to work in the other side of the chain. We're going to repeat the stitch we made on the other side. So we're going to skip the next chain, and in the next one make 1 single crochet. And then go back in the stitch we skipped and make 1 single crochet pulling a little bit more. Skip the next chain, and in the next one make 1 single crochet. Then go back to the stitch you skipped and make 1 single crochet, pulling the loop a little bit more. I'm going to continue like this until we have 1 stitch left at the end of the row. At the end of the row, we're going to make 1 single crochet in the last stitch. This is the first row of our cup. For our second row, we're going to turn around, chain 1. Then in the first stitch, we're going to make 1 single crochet. Skip the next stitch, and in the next one make 1 single crochet, and then go back to the single crochet you skipped, and here we're going to make our single crochet, pulling the yarn, the loop a little bit more, and we're going to continue for all the stitches until we reach the stitch marker. Skip 1 stitch, 1 single crochet, then 1 single crochet back in the stitch we skipped. The 2 single crochet before the stitch marker are the increases we made in the previous row, and we're going to work following the stitch pattern. So we're going to skip the first one and make a single crochet in the second one, and go back and make a single crochet in the one we skipped, like this. Then we're going to remove the stitch marker, and in that chain space we're going to make our increase. I'm going to make 2 single crochet, one chain, and then 2 more single crochet. I'm gonna put the stitch marker back in that chain space. Like this, and then continue the stitch pattern in the stitches of the other side. Here we have the other 2 increases. I'm going to work our stitch pattern. We're going to skip the next one, work in a single crochet in the next one, and then go back. And then continue. And the row with a single crochet in the last stitch. Our second row is completed. Now for row 3 we're going to turn around, and from now on we're going to keep repeating row 2. So the stitch pattern is just 1 row repeat. I'm gonna continue following the stitch pattern with the first color until I reach row 4. Then I'm gonna switch to the second color. And in the chain space where we have our stitch marker, we'll keep increasing in the same way by making 2 single crochet and 2, 1 chain and 2 single crochet. And then replacing our stitch marker in the chain space here. At the end of the fourth row, we are going to complete our last double crochet using our second color, like this. I'm gonna bring my previous yarn up and I'm gonna make one chain around the yarn of the previous color, like this, and then I'm going to turn around. Now I'm going to make the next 2 rows using our second color, following the stitch pattern. At the end of the 6th row, I'm going to change back to my first color. I'm going to bring the previous color up and make my chain around that yarn, like this. I'm not cutting the yarn, I'm bringing it along the side. Now turn around. I'm gonna keep alternating 4 rows with the main color and 2 rows with the second color until I reach my desired measurement for the cup. Once we finish both cups, we're going to join them together. So at the end of the last row of the second cup, do not cut the yarn. We're going to continue on the bottom side. So now we're going to work on the bottom side of the second cup and we're going to make single crochet, trying to space them out evenly. We need to count how many single crochet we make, because we're going to make the same amount in the second cup. I've reached the end of this cup. Here I have the space for one last single crochet. I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to pull up a loop. Then I'm going to take my other cup and I'm going to insert my hook in the first stitch. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Basically, we made a single crochet together in between the 2 cups. I'm gonna count this stitch as the last one of this first cup. I'm gonna count how many stitches I have in total, and I'm gonna make the same amount here in the bottom side of the second cup. For me, these are 32, so I'm gonna make 32 stitches. Our 2 cups are connected. We ended here at the corner of the second one, and don't fasten off. Now we'll keep going and chain for the stitches of the back. Because we did the same amount of stitches for each cup, we have an even number of stitches and we need our total to be an odd number. So for the back we need to chain an odd number. I'm gonna do the same amount of stitches I did here plus 1. So these are 64 for me, plus 1, I'm gonna chain 65. Don't make this chain too tight. Once I have all my 65 chains, I'm going to flip the cups over like this so that they are on the wrong side. Then I'm gonna make sure that my chain is straight, that it's not twisted. I'm gonna flip this side like this a little bit, and I'm going to slip stitch in the first stitch of this cup. Like this. For our first row of the body, we are not going to turn around. After this row, we will turn around after each row. Now chain 1. And for this row, we're going to work in only the back loop of the stitches. So in the first stitch, I'm going to make a single crochet only in the back loop of the single crochet. In the other stitches, we need to follow the stitch pattern we did for the cup. So we're going to skip the first stitch and make a single crochet in the back loop of the second stitch. Then go back to the stitch that we skipped and make a single crochet, this time in the back loop only. Like this, pulling a little bit more and making our single crochet. So the stitch is basically the same, we are only doing it in the back loop for this row. So skip the next stitch and in the next one make one single crochet only in the back loop, then go back to the stitch that you skipped, only making a single crochet only in the back loop. We're going to continue like this for all the stitches of the cups. After the stitches of the cups, we'll keep going into the chains of the back. After working the stitch pattern in all the chains of the back, we're going to slip stitch in the first single crochet we made. Like this, so the first round of our body is completed. Now we're going to turn around. Now we'll turn around after each round. Chain 1 and make one single crochet in that first stitch where we slip stitched, like this, and then keep following the stitch pattern. Skip one stitch, one single crochet in the next one, then go back to the stitch we skipped and make a single crochet, pulling a little bit more. So continue like this for all the stitches. At the end of the second round, slip stitch in the first single crochet, then turn around, chain 1 and repeat row 2. I'm going to do 4 rows with this color, then I'm going to chain, after row 4, I'm going to chain 2 white and do 2 rows of with that color. At the end of the 4th row, I'm going to make the slip stitch to join in the round using the 2nd color. Like this. Then I'm going to chain 1, turn around, and now I'm going to make 2 rows with the white, and then switch back to the main color. After the 2 rows with my 2nd color, I switched back to the 1st one, and now I'll keep alternating 4 rows with my 1st color and 2 rows with the 2nd one. Alright, I continue following the stitch pattern, alternating 4 rows with my 1st color and 2 rows with the 2nd one. This now measures 14 centimeters and I've reached around my belly button. I stopped after an even number row so that the next one is gonna be on the right side. This is the right side. On the wrong side I have the color change because I didn't cut my yarn. Now I'm gonna switch back to my 2nd color and I'm gonna add a border around the bottom. Alright, we are on the right side of our work. I switch back to my 2nd color and now I'm gonna make my border. First I'm gonna chain 3, and in the 1st stitch I'm gonna make 2 more double crochet. 1 and 2. The first 3 chain count as 1 double crochet, so basically we made 3 double crochet in the 1st stitch. Then we're going to skip the next stitch, and in the next one we're going to make 1 single crochet and 3 double crochet, all in the same stitch. 1 double crochet, 2 and 3. Then again we're going to skip the next stitch, and in the next one we're going to repeat what we did here. So we're going to make 1 single crochet and 3 double crochet, all in the same stitch. 2 and 3. Skip the next stitch, and in the next one again 1 single crochet and 3 double crochet. And we're going to continue like this for all the row. 2 and 3. Once we have the last 2 stitches, we're going to skip the next one, and in the last stitch we're going to make only 1 single crochet, and then we're going to slip stitch in the 3rd chain we made at the start. Like this, and then we can fasten off and cut the yarn. The border at the bottom of our top is completed. And now I want to add the same thing here under the cups. If you remember, we did the first row of the body only in the back loop, so we have here the front loops still available. I'm gonna take a new piece of yarn, make a slip knot, and I'm gonna attach it to the corner of my cup. Like this. Then I'm gonna chain 3. and then repeat the border that we did on the bottom. So I'm gonna do 2 more double crochet in the first stitch, one and 2, then I'm gonna skip the next one, and in the next one I'm gonna make 1 single crochet and 3 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1, 2, and 3 double crochet. And I'm gonna continue for all the stitches. I finished the border in the stitches under the cups, then I continue all the way in the back, in all the stitches of the back, and I join here at the start, slip stitching as I did for the border here at the bottom. So now we are missing the straps for our top, but first I want to close the space between the cups a little bit. I'm gonna join the stitches of the 2 cups here in the center using single crochet. So I'm gonna match, I am on the wrong side of my work. I'm gonna match the stitches of the first cup with the stitches of the second cup and insert my hook through both loops of the first stitch of the first cup and the first stitch of the second cup. Then I'm gonna take my yarn, make a slip knot, and I'm gonna pull the loop through, then chain 1. Then I'm gonna move to the second stitch, insert my hook through both loops of the second stitch of the first cup and the second stitch of the second cup, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2 to make a single crochet. Then to the third stitch, insert your hook through both loops of the third stitch of each cup, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through to make a single crochet, and continue joining like this until you join enough stitches. And this is how it looks from the front. So the neckline isn't as open as it was before. So now we are missing the straps. For the straps, I decided to make just 2 rows of the stitch pattern that we use for the rest of our top. So I already made the first one. I'm gonna make the second one. We need to chain a multiple of 2 plus 1. So for this one I chained 67 and it measures around 35 centimeters. I'm gonna chain the same amount of stitches and then do 2 rows following the stitch pattern that we use both for the cups and for the body of our top. Once we have both of our straps, we can now attach them to the top. I'm gonna use a tapestry needle and sew the straps using the long tail I left. First, I'm gonna sew them both straps to the top of the cups. Like here, we are on the wrong side of the work. And then I'll decide where to position them on the back. Maybe I need to position them more towards the center like this, and I can adjust the length. So first sew them to the back, to the cups, and then to the back. All right, I sew the straps to the top of the cups, and here I position them and I held them in place using pins, so I could try this on and see if the length of the strap was correct, and I could adjust it and to make sure also that the straps are in the same position. So this is the length I want for my straps. So now I'm going to sew them on the wrong side in the same way using my tapestry needle. I attached the straps to the back as well. Now I wanted to add border like this one around the cups and the neckline as well, but it didn't look as good as I imagined, so I'm gonna do just one row of single crochet around the cups and the neckline. Then I'm going to wave in the tails we have left, and the top is gonna be done. Now I'm gonna attach my yarn here and just make one single crochet in every stitch all around the cups and the neckline. So I was making the row of single crochet on the corner of the cups and the neckline. I decided to make single crochet onto the straps as well. I continue here at the end of the cup onto the strap all the way till the back. Here I cut the yarn and reattach it on the other side and continue with single crochet on the other side of the strap. I continue onto the neckline here like this, and here I'm gonna do the second strap as well. So this is gonna give some strength to the strap, make it a little bit thicker and less stretchy.
And this is the final result. The top finished. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!